The world of console video games is quickly changing, and it's a very stark contrast to a world that many of us grew up in. You used to buy a Sony system to play games like God of War and Uncharted. You bought a Nintendo system to play a Mario game or a Zelda game. You bought an Xbox system to play a Halo game or a Gears of War game. But companies such as Xbox have been breaking down barriers and saying, well, just play our games on whatever device you have. Play anywhere on any sort of thing. I think there are positives to that, but I'm not quite sure they outweigh the negatives because, like I said, you bought these consoles specifically to play certain games and certain franchises. If we kind of break down all of these barriers, then you're going to essentially create a sort of monopolistic situation in which what's the point of making a console in the first place? And I understand that it works well on things like Steam and stuff like that, on PC gaming, but the world of console gaming is a very different beast, and that's why it kind of exists alongside of PC gaming. But when it comes to Xbox, like I said, they're pretty much putting stuff on everything. We talked yesterday about how many people are expecting there to be announcements at next week's Nintendo Direct involving Xbox. I think games like potentially Starfield, maybe a Forza Horizon game, maybe even Halo Infinite, Sea of Thieves. I think these all have a realistic chance of showing up on the Nintendo Switch 2 in a manner of being able to play those games on your Switch 2, because Xbox doesn't really care about any of that stuff now. Everything is an Xbox. But PlayStation's a different beast. PlayStation's a more interesting situation because PlayStation kind of cracked open the window a little bit. And once they cracked open that window, I declared the console wars over. And people said that it was an overreaction. I made subsequent videos saying that, hey, PlayStation is going to be putting more games on Nintendo Switch 2 and probably Xbox as well in the future. And people once again said, oh, that's an overreaction. That's an overreaction. Now, there have been PlayStation Studio games that have come out as multi-platform releases, such as MLB The Show, but that wasn't really Sony's doing. That was more so MLB saying, hey, why is this only on PlayStation? We want it on everything so we can make more money. But when LEGO Horizon Adventures was announced for the original Nintendo Switch, I immediately said they're cracking open a window because they want to open up a door. And people thought, no, it's just going to be that one game. But people also thought that, Microsoft and Xbox were only bringing 4 games over to the PlayStation brand. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Now, of course, Helldivers, which is a Sony and PlayStation Studios published game, is coming over to Xbox with Helldivers 2. We already knew about that. And once again, people said, oh, it's just a multi-platform game. They're not going to put more stuff out there. But boy, oh boy, this confirmation pretty much changes everything. And now there's no more debate. There's no more reason to have this discussion anymore because more PlayStation games are coming to Nintendo Switch 2 and Xbox, and here's the proof. This is a job listing for a senior director, multi-platform, and account management at PlayStation. Why PlayStation? PlayStation isn't just the best place to play, it's also the best place to work. You might as well get rid of that slogan because you tried to do that slogan with Fortnite and you didn't want to do cross-platform play, but then your backs got pretty much put against the wall and you had to do it. And that was kind of the end, I felt, of that strong stance of PlayStation just saying this is the best place to play. But now we're going to do more PC stuff, and, the games on PC will actually run better than they do on consoles, and you could do more with them, but I digress. So they talk about stuff here, blah, 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 blah. What is this job? You could do remote work, West Coast preferred, for a senior director, multi-platform, and account management. Overview. Reporting to the Vice President, Commercial Management as a Senior Director of Multi-Platform and Account Management. You will play a critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio software titles across all digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware, including Steam, Epic Game Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. This role is accountable for optimizing title profitability, ensuring cross-function alignment, and leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion, mid-range commercial planning, and platform partnership management. Now, we know the current president of PlayStation stuff is Hiroki Totoki, a name I like to say because I feel like it just rolls off the tongue very nice. Hiroki Totoki pretty much said, hey, we want to explore multi-platform stuff more. And a lot of PlayStation fanboys were like, no, they just mean more PC stuff because, you know, you have to distinguish that you want to explore multi-platform more, saying multi-platform, and then, you know, that's it. They just mean PC. But no, like, the lead platform relationships across PC and console ecosystems, Steam, Epic, Xbox, Nintendo, ensuring strong collaboration, promotional effectiveness, and performance optimization. Like, look at this, dude. This is a lot bigger than you thought this was going to be. And, you know, people tried to downplay this. You know, a pretty good pay right here, you know. For example, if you're based out of Seattle, the estimated base pay for this role is listed below. You know, you can make some good money here. But, you know, you have to take this for what it is saying. They want to have expansion into other platforms. Lego Horizon Adventures was not just the only game. It wasn't. Helldivers 2 is not just the only game. It's not. Like, you're going to tell me that they're not thinking, oh, you know, what's one of our biggest sellers, Horizon. You know, we could take that PS4 game and put it on the Switch too. I'm not saying that these games are necessarily going to be day and date with what is happening on PlayStation. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case at all. But there are PlayStation games that are now going to be coming to Nintendo Switch 2. There are PlayStation games that are now going to be coming to Xbox. And one of the big questions was when Xbox kind of shifted into this world of, you know, essentially allowing Steam. And, you know, there's been so many rumors about the next Xbox and how the Xbox ROG Ally, which is allegedly going to be $1,000 like I said it was going to be, and people said, oh, you're crazy, RGT. I'm not crazy. I look at how much stuff costs. I should be a video game analyst, a sales analyst, video game analyst, all of that fun stuff. But, you know, with Steam and Xbox pretty much, you know, essentially being an Xbox box that has Steam on it under your television, many people were wondering, well, is PlayStation going to block their games from being playable on there? And honestly, here's where I'll take an L. I said yes. I thought PlayStation was going to be completely against, you know, being able to play games like The Last of Us via Steam on this new Xbox console that they are allegedly coming out with. That's going to be super powerful and all this crap. But I don't think that's the case. And I think this sort of stuff proves it. They're wanting relationships with these companies. They're wanting to work with these companies. They're wanting their games to get onto more platforms. And it's probably boiling down to cost of development and how many copies of these games sell versus how many they want it to sell and how much they need to have sustainability and profitability. Now, yes, you see like profits and stuff are up like that, but I feel like there's a reason why games, you know, tend to get re-released, you know, on PlayStation. You know, look at how many times they've kind of done something with The Last of Us by either adding in new content, remastering a remaster. Like, I feel there's a reason for that. You know, games take so much longer to make. When you're looking at PlayStation for 2025 and their first party output, it's definitely not the PlayStation that a lot of us grew up with. The output is definitely not the same. It's a lot slower because games take longer to develop now. And to sort of offset those circumstances, to have money continually coming in on the software side of things, what better way than to go into your catalog and release some of these games onto other platforms? So PlayStation ponies, you know, you know what y'all should have done? You should have listened to Jack Move. Jack Move Johnny, this is why Jack Move's my boy. He warned all of this. He was the pony commissioner. He saw the writing on the wall, and he tried to warn you. He tried to warn more PlayStation games are coming to other platforms, and he rejected his message. Is Jack Move Johnny Black Jesus? I don't know. But, I mean, people did the same with Jesus. That's all I'm going to say. Shout outs to Jack Move. Shout outs to PlayStation fanboys. You know, the crash outs over Helldivers 2 are going to be nothing compared to when Spider-Man comes to other platforms. Because guess what, folks? That franchise costs a hell of a lot of money. And if you don't think that Sony is eyeballing Spider-Man, looking at how much it costs to develop, how much the licensing fees are, and they're like, you know, we might could put that on the Switch too. We might could put that on Xbox, make some sales. You know, what do we have to lose here? I don't know, man. It's going to be fun to see, though. It's going to be very fun to see. I can't wait for these announcements to start rolling in with PlayStation putting their stuff on other platforms. And the console wars are over, folks. Nintendo is the only one standing 10 toes down on business saying, hey, you want to play Mario Kart? You buy our damn system. You want to play the latest Mario Kart? You can play the little piss-ass, you know, Mario Kart Tour. Those little Animal Crossing Pocket Adventures or whatever. You can play some BS. But you want to play the actual games, dog? You got to play it on the system. You ain't getting this shit on Xbox. You ain't getting it on PlayStation. Sad but true. Don't let the facts get in the way of your feelings. Even though you should, because I really wanted to say don't let your feelings get in the way of facts. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think of this in the comment section down below. What are some PlayStation games you expect to go multi-platform? I mean, hell, you got to imagine Sony's cranking their hog at the thought of being able to put The Last of Us on something else. We could re-release The Last of Us? We got to do this. The TV show. People will buy it. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to give me all your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.